Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first meeting. I guess let's go ahead and introduce ourselves to everybody. Let me start down this way, go around.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Silverman. I'm the Executive Director of the Belcourt Theater.
I'm Laura Fox from Metro Legal.
Willie Sims, or Big Fella, or Fella Vision.
Dave Pomeroy, President of the Nashville Musicians Association, AFM Local 257.
I am Mike Montgomery, and I am the designated SAG-AFTRA representative.
I am Peter Kurland. I'm the business agent for the IATSE Local 492, representing film workers in the state of Tennessee, Kentucky, and northern Mississippi.
Brian Sexton, current chair of Music Makes Us, and I also represent MDHA.
My name is Max Butler. I'm a local producer, production manager, line producer, have my own production company.
Alicia Edwards, local producer, production manager.
Jeffrey Gordon, local lighting director and community advocate.
And I'm Sarah Trahern. I'm CEO of the Country Music Association.
All right, so we don't have a formal agenda this time, which we'll make one for next time. Where do we want to start? Who has a suggestion? We talking about mission, talking about what we want to see from the commission.
Yeah, I definitely think there are three buckets. One bucket being governance. I think that probably will take a fair amount of our meeting time, being that in that bucket you have the bylaws, mission, and vision. The second bucket, which probably we would touch in the October 24th meeting, is the actual office where we get into the weeds of the executive director and staff. And then at some point we need to touch on policies, which are embedded in the actual ordinance. To your question, I would pretty much recommend the governance, starting with bylaws, mission, and vision, maybe just kind of throwing out.
And to add to your list, I think we do need to officially select a chair and vice chair.
Are there folks that are interested in serving in that role? I know that I'm not, but there may be people who are interested in putting their name in and maybe share with us why they think they would be a good leader for this group at this time.
I tell you real quick, Shannon Sanders called me. He has some induction that he said he couldn't get out of at the, I don't know, Hall of something. And he said that if need be, he's up to do any roles that anybody might have for him, any leadership roles or anything. He just told me throw that out there for him.
All right. Well,
Anybody else interested?
with that being said, let's with the position of chair. Any names? Anybody interested in being the chair?
Sort of in a similar position as Sarah, in that I'm not sure I'm the right person for it, but I think that you know, this is important work. My hands are pretty full right now. I'm not sure I need to be leading this, but I definitely want to be involved, and I would encourage anybody, especially on the film side of things, to step up, because I think ultimately the visual side of audiovisual is you know, where a lot of our work is going to center. So I have no problem with anybody with a slightly more film slant to want to step up.
Well, I'm happy to be in one of these positions. I don't know. Yeah, we were all kind of busy. That's the trick, right? I'm happy to be in one of these positions if somebody wants to nominate me or lead one of the committees. I'm here to get things done and to work. So let me know what you think.
I would certainly be happy to nominate you, Max. I think you've carried a lot of water to date and did amazing work to get this committee sort of stood up. So I think you would be a great chair.
Not to volunteer him, but I wonder if a combination of Max and Brian would be a great combination for us because you've got Max really with the creative community and Brian with the more governance and process-driven experience. I think the two of you would be a really great combination if others would
I second
talk to
that.
I third it.
Third, fourth, all of it, yep.
I think that sounds pretty good to me. I will say I'm almost 99% sure not going to be able to be at the next meeting because I'm going to have to go out of town for work, and I just can't turn it down right now, for what it's worth. I mean, do we have to have somebody can we do co-chairs, or how does that work? Is there a legal term?
Yeah, well, you have chair and the vice chair. If anybody else would want to serve as vice chair?
I'd be interested in having some larger say in the opportunity.
Cool. What do we do now? Vote on this, or?
Yeah,
I don't know anything about these rules, these Roberts rules stuff.
No,
so.
I would do the position of the chair first by vote. So you had a nomination and a second, I believe. That's on record. Who seconded? All right.
I think in terms of Max, I nominated, so I think
Okay.
that needs a second.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
All right. Take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? I think it's unanimous.
Small technical point, I think when you're doing that, when you nominate someone, you have to also ask if there are any other nominations.
I thought we covered that. My apologies.
Okay, not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's just, I
No.
think, because I don't think there are, but I think just protocol
Yeah,
saying
no
that is
worries.
good for,
No worries.
it's good for the lawyers.
No worries at all.
At this point, is somebody supposed to be taking notes on this, or are we recording it all so we can do that later? Are there minutes that are supposed to be taken?
Yes, you do need to have minutes taken. If you want to use the recording to assist, that would be great. Obviously, it's a little bit challenging here. You don't have a staff.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what to tell you right now. Perhaps, does someone want to take notes? Is that something that would be?
I can keep some notes here.
Okay, if
That'd
you
be
could
great.
keep some notes, and then I think if people would watch the meeting, perhaps we could fill in blanks with that way.
I'm happy
All
to
right,
have
cool.
somebody help with maybe a transcript of whatever we need from the recording. If Dave has some notes in the moment, would be great.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. So what's next? Vice?
That's right. That's right.
So I believe somebody nominated you, right?
Yes, and then we had also expressed interest in it. All right. So I think we would need someone to nominate Jeff. Formal nomination.
Nominate Jeff Gordon.
All right. Second. Can you get a second?
Second.
Who said that? All right. All right. Very good. Now, I'm part of the pool, so I think that our newly elected chair.
Oh, so we
Oh,
gotta
we
hold
got
a
a chair
vote?
now.
How's it work? I'm supposed to say, like, who wants to, anybody votes for Jeff, raise your hand.
All in favor?
All in, okay.
Does it make sense
But-
for either one of you to talk a little bit about what experience you
I
might
think
bring
that's
to
a
this
great
role?
idea.
Would be
Yeah.
Thank you.
helpful.
No worries.
I'm a 30-year veteran of the Nashville film community. At points in time, I've served on the board of Local 492, been the president of Film Nashville, part of Tennessee Film and Television Coalition, part of the conversations to help with the state tax incentive relative to that. Passionate about where we move from here. I'm at a point in time in my career where I work only in Nashville. I won't be traveling for work. And this is very important to me as we've not been represented by a film commission since 2006. It's kind of time that we get some things together and make ourselves known on the national scene to make ourselves a better production destination.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
Awesome.
I'm Brian.
Yeah, I thank you for that. I truly care about the quality of life of both our not just music and film, but our creative economy here in Nashville. That's kind of where I've been spinning my wheels for the past 15 years. Whether you do music or you're in film or fashion, everyone needs four walls and a roof. Everyone needs transit. Everyone needs these quality of life aspects and resources that help make our city go. So, I'd be more than delighted to, how would you say, postpone my nomination, or, withdraw my nomination. If I could do that myself, I don't think I can do that myself. So that, Jeff, you can serve as vice chair. More than happy to do that.
I think that's fine to decline the nomination
To
if you
decline?
wish.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, I would formally on record decline my nomination for vice chair.
All right, then. I guess we all vote all in favor of Jeff Gordon then? So raise your
Aye.
hand. Say aye. Seemed like pretty much everybody did there. Anybody opposed? No, I didn't get a count, but I think Jeff wins.
All right.
Congratulations.
And Jeff, were you able to be at the next meeting? Yes. Share it if Max, since Max isn't going to be there. Great.
All right, cool. Well, we did those two things. What's next? Legislatively, bylaws, discussion of bylaws. We had some bylaws that were handed out from another place that we haven't had a chance to read.
Yeah,
Should we start with the mission statement?
Maybe we should start
And
by
just-
refreshing ourselves on the legislation here and what it says. I have it that I can read out. How's that? Let's see. I have one that's got a bunch of things crossed out, and I think that's the only one there is, but hold on.
Is that the mission statement?
I've got the mission of the commission right
Oh, yeah.
here. The mission of the commission shall be to create policies to promote the entertainment industry in Nashville and Davidson County and recruit projects and employment related to the entertainment industry. That's A. And then B, promote racial and gender equity and establish mechanisms and metrics to maintain diversity and inclusion within the entertainment industry. So many things are crossed out. Yeah, that's that. And then C is work to address quality of life issues facing individuals in the entertainment industry in Nashville and Davidson County. D, support small and independent businesses within the entertainment industry in Nashville and Davidson County. E, promote education initiatives and programming related to the entertainment industry. And F, work with the Tennessee Entertainment Commission to achieve this mission. And that's that. And then to carry out the commission's purposes, the commission shall have the authority to elect a chair and other officers as necessary to carry out the functions and duties of the commission, promulgate and maintain regulations and bylaws for the commission, recruit and hire the executive director who shall serve as, that's repetitive, as the executive director of the commission and of the Office of Music, Film, and Entertainment, promote, market, and support the Office of Music, Film, and Entertainment. E, meet no less than once per quarter. The Music City Music Council, the Film and Television Advisory Council, and the Diversity and Equity Council shall meet on an as-needed basis at the discretion of the chair and the commission. And those are our three built-in commissions. F, establish councils in addition to those listed in section 2.147.030A, including to address other creative industries and issues facing the entertainment industry. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think the mission statement will probably take more than one meeting, just my opinion. I think that's something that you want to be intentional about and give a lot of thought to. The mission of the commission is within the ordinance itself. We might want to pivot to bylaws. And I would ask that with the help of legal. Whatever we do here or decide here today, will it be finalized, or how does the process go for what we discussed in regards to the bylaws?
We don't have to finalize them today. I think we could just follow General Roberts' rules and get going. If you have a particular way you want to do something, we can incorporate them into the bylaws. I was just getting a copy. I know that one of you shared some bylaws from Memphis, but we didn't get the back page, so that's being copied right now.
Well, I also wanted to note that those bylaws are somewhat obsolete and not entirely applicable to us. So I only brought them in as sort of a general guideline if there was things that we hadn't thought about. But they are not by any means a suggestion for bylaws that we should adopt.
The papers that I distributed are from the AFCI, Association for Film Commissions International, and it's got a really pretty good footprint as to how they proceed in establishing that. Moving further down the road, I'd like to have the opportunity to address a budget expenditure of affiliating ourselves with this organization to see if we might be able to cut to the chase with some of the business at hand right now to take advantage of the experience of the 365 different commissions that span the globe. So we won't necessarily be reinventing the wheel, but taking advantage of the experience of others. So maybe we can review this document between now and the next meeting and pick and choose and see what comes about.
I think that's fine, and I think that if anyone wants to take a crack at drafting some bylaws or finding another model, that would be fine as well.
Is it copacetic to do a Google Doc shared kind of drafting situation amongst commissioners, or is that a no bueno? That's no.
No, you're not supposed to deliberate towards a decision outside of a public meeting. The public is supposed to be able to see what you're expressing on public business.
Well, I was thinking that, today seems like we should be establishing goals, just sort of big picture stuff. And obviously we all need to do some back research to figure out exactly what kind of bylaws we would need, So I think, yeah, if we stay at sort of 10,000 feet for today and try to just, establish what we're trying to do as much as possible, might be good.
So, I've heard about something that they tested during the last Metro Council where there was some kind of online, it's like a forum of some sort where people can communicate. Is that something we can do?
I think so. That was set up by our IT department for the Metro Council to be able to have conversations in a publicly available forum. And I think that applies to all boards and commissions, not just the council, but I am happy to check on that.
Yeah, that would be great. That's like a public Google Doc, essentially. All right, here's the back page.
I'm happy to help work on drafting bylaws.
Great.
If that's useful, and would appreciate any examples that people may have gotten from colleagues as a starting point.
Are we allowed to set up a subcommittee, like a bylaws subcommittee? And are they allowed to meet? Because that might be an efficient way to do this so that we're not all doing
Yeah,
it.
yes, they can meet, but it would be a publicly noticed meeting and potentially have the cameras, depending on everyone's schedule.
And how do we set that up?
If you decide on that and pick a committee and set a date, and then I think that the mayor's office would work with you to get a room and send out agenda and notices.
Need there be a quorum?
Well, it would just be a working group or a task force.
Okay.
I don't know what they would call it in this world.
Things wouldn't be finalized.
Nothing would be
in that
finalized
group.
in
It would
that
just
group.
be a way to work in person together on something. And probably something, it would be public, so people could come and watch and whatever.
But it wouldn't require
Correct.
us all to be there, but yet we'd all have say in it at the end of it, so the bylaws committee didn't do something outrageous.
All right, we'll come back to us to approve. Does anybody have page 1 of that document? Are they-
It was previously handed out. It looks like.
I have an extra copy of page 1.
So between the,
No, it was the bylaws of the Memphis.
So between the bylaws and the mission statement, would it be wise to take the documents that we have before us now, study said documents, and then because we can't obviously deliberate offline, vote on the final version at the meeting on the 24th? I mean, you would have to, pending if we get a draft, I mean, is that,
Well, it's just a question of how fast we can put together
Yeah.
a task force meeting for the bylaws, and if there's a draft available, we could vote on it at whatever the next meeting is following the completion of the draft. And if we could do that by the 24th, that'd be great. I suspect we can't, and I'm not sure the bylaws are our highest priority thing. They don't seem like they are.
I mean, you kind of need them.
No, I know we need them. I'm just saying, but if we have multiple things going on, we should prioritize.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, having a bylaw thing this thick with our union, I would just say that the shorter and more to the point we can make the bylaws, the better. Because a lot of times you end up over-regulating yourself in ways you didn't even imagine were possible.
Totally agree.
So today, let's vote on the establishment of the subcommittee, and then we'll have to figure out who be assigned to that.
Who's interested in being involved in that aside from Stephanie? Anybody else?
I would take a shot.
One, two.
Jeff?
Yes.
I'm into that kind of stuff too. I'll do that.
All right.
That's enough, probably, right? Anybody else want to do it?
Probably good.
We can offer it up to other people that aren't here right now.
So from a parliamentary standpoint, we probably need
Need
a
a
motion
motion.
to establish that committee. And so I'm happy to make a motion that Jeff, Max, Dave, and Stephanie would serve as a governance governance subcommittee to help with the creation of the bylaws.
Second.
Now we're supposed to discuss. If anybody has anything to discuss, is that right?
Would Trey be of value?
Yes, he would. We could nominate him.
In his absence.
In his absence. He's a lawyer too, so attorney, so.
Should we look at the other committees and see how things are spread around? Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to press that. Should we look at the other?
We got to vote on this
Possible.
first one thing. though.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Getting ahead.
So let's,
I just have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Which is, I know we need to establish the committee. Do the members of that committee have to be named and voted upon, or can that committee exist and then members participate at will?
Usually what I've seen is that some people are assigned to the committee and then any member can also attend if they wish to.
Let me ask a question. I know that the scope of what was approved by council designated the three committees initially. Do all of and I know that members can be not of this group. Do they all have to be Davidson County residents, like the requirement to serve on the committee?
Yes, in general, to be on a board or commission, you have to be a Davidson County resident.
What about just to be do you have to be on the board or commission to be on one of these committees to figure stuff out? Subcommittees? Like an advisory subcommittee?
I would recommend that they be a Davidson County resident, but I think you're welcome to invite people to collaborate with you if you think it's helpful.
Okay.
Potentially as ex officio members or something where they don't have a vote, but they could have expertise to bring to the room.
Yes.
so for formal purposes, should we appoint somebody to be in charge of this commission or committee? A chair of the committee?
Yes, I would do that, and I would go ahead and put some people on the committee who have volunteered at this point, so everybody knows that, so you can check your calendars and go ahead and set a meeting.
Yeah.
Usually what we do is we recommend at least 5 days' notice of a meeting. A week or 10 days is even better. But you can't have say we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. That's not appropriate for public notice, and the ITS can't get everything out in time.
Yeah.
I would just make a suggestion that, and we talked about this briefly in the pre-meeting, before we got established, that I think it's great to go ahead and move to committees and know what our structure is going to be. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really crucial as we are working on setting the mission, setting the scope, that this group works together before we get so focused on chasing music, chasing film and TV, chasing, other things, particularly without us being unified as we're creating the office and the job description. I think we can create the committees and start to think about how we populate those. But I think we could very quickly start running in a bunch of different directions as opposed to coming to really speak with a clear and powerful voice.
I agree, though. I do like the idea of having a working task force or whatever for the kind of administrative tasks we have to do, like the bylaws, which don't necessarily require that kind of.
And I think we actually have a motion on the floor about the task force, and we haven't voted on it.
We just need a vote.
So we have to wrap that.
So all in favor of forming, what do we call it, the governance committee? I think is that what you said when you nominated it? Yeah. or made the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, I guess it is.
Do you want to go again to approve the people who volunteered to serve? So
Yeah,
the
let's-
record will be clear on that?
So
Yeah, I have the bylaw committee, but not the governance.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about the bylaws.
that's what governance and bylaw administration.
Okay, no wonder I was confused.
Okay, so Stephanie, Dave, Jeffrey, and myself all did. So I make a motion to put us on that committee.
I'll
Second it.
that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, or anybody opposed? All right, there it is. Yeah.
I wanted to say too, I think, I'm not sure, I don't really want anything to do with the governance committee, but I do like what he was saying about these AFCIF. It's like Association of Film Commissions International. It's like, I like people that have tried and true ways that you could just grab in, and they probably know all the things that we would be dealing with and thinking about. They've talked about it before. They had people, even though ours is not just film, they might still be, I don't know if it's probably a music one too, but it might be one for everything. But I just like people who've done it before and it makes it easier to work through it.
The contact was very gracious with her time and very eager to have us continue conversation, but I think if it's acceptable to the commission, perhaps we could appropriate funds to actually go ahead and join.
How much is that?
$1,300. There's a $350 application fee, and then there's a $950 recurring sum as an annual fee to be a part of it.
Do you have a budget?
Supposedly.
Theoretically, yeah, we've been told.
There's $100,000 set up for the establishment of our business.
Okay. This sounds
Where that is, I don't know.
right. I think we'd want to get finance involved and make sure those accounts are available at this time. I certainly believe you that the money has been set aside for you, but I don't know enough about it to suggest that today's the right day to vote on
Yeah.
that.
A good idea, but maybe wait till the next time till we figure out a little bit more.
And in the meantime, may I continue conversations with them on behalf of the commission to see what other information I can glean and what steps we might take between now and the 24th?
I think at this point, things like that we can kind of do just on our own, right? Like I've been doing stuff on my own like that, but yeah, not officially.
As long as it's not official business and it's just you collecting information to share with us.
No harm in that.
I'd hate to think that's a conflict.
Okay.
One thing I was going to mention is that on my own, not as a member of the commission, I just reached out to Bob Raines because I was talking to him about a movie or something else. And he is actually available to come to the next meeting if we want to talk to him about the Tennessee Entertainment Commission and his background on experience with that. Does that sound like a good idea? Add that to the agenda for
Yeah, I think
next
that
time?
sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point we need to compare notes. I just want to make sure we're
Your mic is on.
far enough. Oh, sorry. My little switch is acting funny. Just want to make sure that we're far enough along to have a informative conversation with them. But obviously, we need to interact with Bob, which a few of us have been doing for a while. I do think it's important to not overlook the differences between metro initiatives and state initiatives and how complicated that can get.
I also think maybe as we develop, maybe talking with Lynn and Sharon now Memphis, because I've worked with them many times. And they have an established commission that works in Memphis. I know it's different with the funding and everything, but they have been a huge benefit. So I think kind of talking with them, being that they've had us, their commission established for a very long time, would be a benefit for this commission.
I think Lynn used to be the president of the AFCI, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
there you go.
And she's been very helpful. She obviously provided me with some of the papers that were distributed tonight. and she has offered any assistance she can give us to get started. Though technically, I guess we're sort of in competition, but we're all trying to get the jobs for the same people, so.
Kurt Willis in Knoxville is also eager to help in any way he can.
Those of you who have those connections, do you think there's value in them coming and just putting them on an agenda to share best practices, at least what they've learned as we're gleaning our information, really a fact-finding kind of
Absolutely.
session?
Yeah, the only issue, and it's not really a big issue, is that Lynn's commission does not deal with music, the music industry. So, you know, we might want to, if there's somebody in a similar position that also deals with music, that might be something that might be useful to us.
I certainly think that's one of the things that's unique to us is the breadth of the scope of our charter, as it were. However, as we start to break down to those subcommittees down the road, we can be tactical. I did, talk to the person who runs the Texas music office, which is one of the job descriptions I put on here, and I do think there's probably some others, but I think the maturity of the film business is so much better at the commission state right now, and actually where we can move the needle quickly, I think, is in those. But when it comes to the lifestyle issues that we've talked about, you know, that Brian talked about well earlier, that hits all of our creative communities.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Question.
Yes, sir.
So, if more than two of us get together, because I'm like fact finding and learning, do we have to do that on a public record too? Like, do we have the time to learn from some of these people and do meetings? Or can we like learn on the side? And I just want to learn, but I want to learn from them, but I have to, that's a lot of time we got to learn on the record.
From what I understand, as long as we don't deliberate, we can absorb.
Yeah.
What's the official word there?
Yes, you can't deliberate towards a decision unless you're in a public meeting. You could gather information, although it would be challenging, I think, to have two or three of you go to lunch and be talking back and forth about your goals for both your commissions without really being deliberating. Does that make sense?
I for sure won't deliberate. For sure. Guaranteed.
You're welcome to go to coffee with each other and get to know each other and talk about things other than commission business. But if you're going to be talking about commission business, you need to be in a public meeting.
Is commission philosophy the same as commission business? I'm just wondering, really. I'm just real question.
Well, I want to be conservative with my advice because I don't want you to violate the Public Meetings Act. But if you want to have a philosophical discussion, I guess that's
I'm for sure. I'm not going to
violate.
I will not violate. You don't have to worry about me.
Well, but to your point, I think if we all explore these things independently and then bring them here to share, that's what we're supposed to be doing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, and if we're in other communities, we're cool to go meet with commissioners in other cities and bring that information back, right? So all those kinds of things are okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Got to turn on your mic. I can't.
I'm sorry, just a little bit. Yeah, my switch is a little funny there. I don't know.
As an engineer, do that.
Yeah, I have people for that. Yeah, just saying that I think, you know, we're beginning to understand that we can all learn and then bring here and share our stuff. That's the format that we should be doing. But yeah, I think it's important to not just show up for the meetings, but to try to do as much homework as we can. And some of it will be redundant, but I do agree that the point of the AFCI and you know, comparing notes with people who are maybe a little further down their own road, even if it's different, you know, because we have some similarities with Memphis and then some things that are very not. So I think this is really healthy.
Can you just add a contrary opinion? Number one, I love the AFCI stuff, so I'm eager to read that. But in the interest of efficacy, is it problematic? Like if each of us is going to individually, you know, we all have a relationship with Bob, rather than having 5 different people have coffee with Bob and pick his brain, it seems to me that putting him on the agenda
I agree.
here, putting the woman from Memphis
I
certainly
agree.
sooner rather than later on our agenda, to be able to just, and tell them up front the 3 or 4 things we want. Tell us what's worked, what hasn't worked, whatever other questions we have, what are the challenges you have. I think that from a transparency standpoint, then we all are asking the same questions and we're not taking their time 5 times over.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I agree with that. And I guess that brings to mind a technical question, which is that can we invite a guest in a virtual format, like via Zoom or something, so that they can speak to us if they are not present in the room?
Yes, as long as you are present in the room.
Oh, cool.
The person that you're talking to doesn't have to be, but I think we would probably want to talk to IT about making sure that person can be heard by the TV viewing audience.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I see you nodding, so it's possible.
So for the governance committee or the task force, you want to review the bylaws or kind of poke holes through the bylaws, mission and vision as well? Is that
I
something
think
you
we
wanna
should
look at?
just draft bylaws.
Bylaws?
I think mission
Okay.
and vision is this whole group working in a really, deep way. I think the mission and vision is a big hurdle.
Okay.
I think, to get over.
So for the bylaws, then, is it fair to say that we would have something to review by the 24th as a commission?
Well, we have to figure out when people are available that we can talk about now. So
Yeah, I'm in town for the next couple weeks.
I'm here
so
for the 24th.
I'm pretty flexible.
I just volunteered for something and I'm leaving town
You're leaving
on
town.
Sunday for a month.
All right.
So maybe.
Well, then the vice chair would step in.
And he's
would-
going to be there, yeah.
Right, so vice chair will step in. Are you here on the 24th?
So Stephanie, do you want to suggest a date for the first?
Sure. And so
Committee.
can we meet anywhere? Do we need to meet in we need to meet here, huh? We can't
to-
meet at the Bell Court, for instance.
You need to meet on Metro property.
Okay. Well, I mean, how about, since Tuesdays seem to work for people, how about the 17th? Okay.
I have a
Yeah,
commitment.
we got a big benefit show that night, and I'll be doing that all day, so, yeah. that'll work for that
18th.
one.
That works.
I'm okay during the day. I've got something at 7 that evening.
Okay. And Max, you're gone, huh?
Maybe,
But maybe Trey could also join us.
yeah.
I'm flexible all day that day, so I guess we just, if we say the 18th, then we need to talk to the mayor's office and see about space availability and timing.
And public notice.
Yes, once you have the time of day picked, then you need to put public notice out.
Copy that.
Who the mayor's office to, who the mayor's office, do we send that to Marjorie?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll send an email to Marjorie asking about that day. Where to do it and all that, and what time, I guess, or do we have to, we can give them a time and then they'll find a place that's available then, kind of thing?
Yeah, I would suggest a time that you are available.
All right.
And then see
Well-
if they can accommodate you. This room is usually not used for this purpose. There are other rooms that are set up around
Yeah.
Metro with the microphones all the
I
time.
think the next one's at the Howard School even. Do you guys want to pick a time?
What about 2 p.m.?
That's fine.
Sold.
There we go.
2 p.m., 10:18. 2 p.m. All right, I'll send it.
Purely for the bylaws. This is
Yeah.
the bylaw meeting.
Bylaw meeting.
Okay.
And anybody that wants to go can go though too.
Got it.
All right,
I have another question.
what's your question?
For mission and vision planning, to me, that's something that you really have to be intentional about. You would almost want to do it in a retreat setting, but I don't think we can do that. So what are best practices or thoughts around how do we come up with a harmonious mission and vision?
Well, I will say the school board does a retreat that is open to the public. I don't know. I don't know
I was
if
not invited.
reporters attend or not, and I don't know where they go on their retreat.
Well, I have a technical question, which is, the mission is contained within the statute, is it not?
So, you answer. I was going to say, there is something in there, but are we doing that for the commission and or the office? There's a few bullet points. I guess, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Well, I just don't know if we have the authority to change that. We can certainly, talk about how we will address that mission. I don't know if we can actually change the wording of it. It's just a question.
Is it described as mission statement in there, or just talking about what the commission does?
It's described, the latter. It's not a mission statement, because our main mission has, per the ordinance, is to create policies around the 6 activities that
Right.
Max shared. So that is a question. Do we need a mission statement on behalf of the commission, or do we want to defer that at the moment and just work through the creation of these policies that lie within the current mission that is within the ordinance?
Because ideally this entity will eventually have a staffing component, it would probably make sense to have a potential executive director as part of a
Agreed.
mission process. It may be that after bylaws, a good next step is a draft budget for a commission, because that is a piece that's going to need to be part of the larger city budget conversation, and something that may take a minute to pull together.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, I think that creating the bylaws at this point, I mean, what's in the bill, what's in the passage of the bill, it's the makings of a mission statement. It's not one per se, but at this point, I think just the bylaws of creating the mechanics of what we're doing is the priority. And then and honestly, if, finding the right person to run this is the next priority. And I would hate to think that we'd have a written in stone mission statement when we don't know who that person is yet, and maybe they need to be part of that discussion. But I do think it's really important that we identify the right people and really vet these candidates carefully.
Laura, let me ask a question on related to finance and organizations, because I'm not familiar with how the city government does it. Like in the nonprofit world, we all have 990s, that report on our expenses and things. If we were to look at Memphis or the state or Texas or other places that have comparable commissions and staffers, do they have to file something equivalent to a 990 from a government standpoint?
Do you mean if you hire somebody, does that person have to, or if they come visit you?
Well, I was thinking about, if I look at a 990, I can see how much they're paying an executive director. If we're trying to do a comp study as we start to build this job description and build a budget.
It would be an employee, so I would think it would be an employee of that city government, and that should be a public record.
Yeah, you can look in the Tennessee state budget. It's not very specific. It's like 4 lines for the film, the Entertainment Commission. But maybe Bob could speak to that a little bit. We could ask Lynn directly.
So that leads me to another question, which is about the formation of a budget. It would be incumbent upon this group to come up with a proposed budget, then to submit to the mayor, to then submit to the council? Is that how that process works? And if so, what date would we have to provide that by?
Well, the budget process usually doesn't start until January. So I think the thing to do is to let Marjorie know that you need someone in finance to talk with about these kinds of issues, and kind of give her, I made some notes that you want to know about, can you appropriate money to join this organization? What would it involve to hire someone, and what kind of budget would you have for that? So I think she, and I can help her and work with her, needs to find out who in finance is a good contact for you.
And then when we have that person, is that part of our deliberation? Would we want to have them come to one of these meetings and discuss that? Would that be something we put on the agenda?
I think either that person or Marjorie would have an understanding of it and become herself, or send someone else, yes. But I would get somebody who has good knowledge. You're going to want to come, yes.
So I would suggest that we, I don't know if that's a Mac's responsibility, but to have somebody reach out and find out how that who would come to us and when we could have them come so that we put them on the agenda along with these other items we're discussing, because that seems like an important thing for us to know as we make decisions about AFCI memberships, as we start to talk about budgeting the office. If we're going to start to look at staff, what do we think those people are going to cost and how do we budget
Yeah,
for that?
and there's a whole HR discussion that is involved there too. Okay, I'll send that email. It's on my list.
So are we under the purview of the mayor or the mayor's office, or is council, or is that who does our,
Right now, the mayor's office is staffing your office.
okay, all right.
So just to clarify, the mission statement and vision will be deferred until we hire executive director, which they should be a part of that process, right? And we just stick to the mission that is currently within the ordinance.
I think that sounds good. Seems like everybody likes that.
All right.
All right. What else do we want to talk about today? You got something else?
I do, if nobody else.
Go for it.
I was going to think about next meeting's agenda. So clearly clearly the bylaws group's going to meet, and ideally we'll have bylaws to review and vote on at the next meeting. We're going to do our homework and read the AFCI materials. So whatever information we can find out on the budget would be great to hear that in the next meeting, or at least from what we currently have if we chose to extend. I was going to suggest everyone really take some time with our scope, even if we don't go down that mission vision route, just to see if there are things in there we want to talk about as we're going forward. And I think the bylaw vote won't take long if we, read the materials. I don't know, if they develop the bylaws, how do they send them out to us to be able to read them in advance of the committee meeting?
They can send them to me or Marjorie, and we can forward it to everyone. We just can't go have emails back and forth. I think this, or well, let's change this, those kinds of things.
And then you will do whatever legal review you need to do from a Metro legal standpoint.
Correct.
Okay. And then do we want to go ahead and put a speaker on for that next meeting, or do we want to now look at a time for the meeting after that and put that on the agenda? People may have other agendas for next time. It'd be great to leave today knowing, since Jeff's going to lead the meeting, what our goals are for next time.
Yeah, so my homework list here is the email to Marjorie about all of these, the finance, HR, and the setting up that other meeting, and then inviting Bob to the next meeting. He's already kind of penciled it in, if that's cool. And then I can invite Lynn as well, and then ask how we can do that Zoom. And
the agenda with Bob would be what discussion point again?
I think it's just basically getting his take on how they set up because it changed to an entertainment commission at one point and how that works. And it's really just getting his input and asking him a bunch of questions.
And he's launching a music component
Yeah.
shortly.
Yeah, that meeting is on the 24th.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
right? I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
our next meeting is the 24th.
Are you talking about our meeting or some
I'm talking
other
about our
meeting?
meeting.
Oh, you're
Or
talking
I think
about our meeting.
Brian was talking,
Okay.
yeah,
was
I don't know
referring
anything
to
about the
Bob.
music.
The 4 initiatives that they're launching, they're having a meeting for that soon. I don't want to say the wrong date, but I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Did I miss something? Aren't there supposed to be 3 committees?
Yeah, I was.
Were we going to figure out those other 2?
Yeah, I was going to get to that. My question for that was, is it appropriate for us to recommend, first, the names for those committees? They can be non-commissioners, right?
That's a legal question.
Can it be non-commissioners? Can it be volunteers from the music community? I guess is what I'm trying to ask. So for example.
I don't know what the committees are, but I guess if you're looking for input from good people, I think that's okay, but I think they wouldn't vote probably.
Okay, yep. So if I had a couple names for the Music City Music Council or the Diversity and Equity Council, and these are, folks that work within the creative industries in Nashville, they could be part of those committees, but they wouldn't have voting rights. Okay.
And would that be done necessarily by the chair of that committee, inviting those people? Maybe, I think at this point, we nominate people to be chairs of those, right? Is that how it goes, or does the chair of the whole thing appoint those people? Did we discuss that?
I think you could do it either way, but it seems to me that if you're going to make a committee, you should go ahead and have the chair of that committee be in charge of that, in charge of the committee.
I do think you'd want input from the others in this group. I think that's, again, what I mentioned earlier is I think we could run a risk if we splinter off too quickly,
That's
too
right.
deeply without coming back to have a unified. And we're around this table because we're committed to entertainment as a whole, film and entertainment and music, not just one. At least I
Well,
believe
and
that.
I also think that maybe the bylaws will be our guide as to how those committees are filled and who appoints, so that we have a plan
Yeah.
that we stick with. And so it's maybe worth waiting to do that portion.
I agree.
Yeah, well, it's in the legislation. There's not a timeline in the legislation that says those committees have to be
Right
stood
now.
up on day one. So may make sense to have to focus on staff and these sort of fundamental sort of underpinnings of the institution, and then move forward on the diversification from there. But I'm with Sarah. I think if we splinter off into committees too quickly, we lose focus, and there's a lot of initial work to do.
And let me just step back, I guess, especially now while you're still setting up those committees, it'd probably be best to stick with your personnel here before you add anyone else to them, so that you can come up with your fundamental goals.
Great. So we'll hold off on that
Yeah.
for a minute until we get the bylaws and after the next meeting.
And I do have another procedural suggestion, which is maybe we should figure out how often we're going to meet, because we've just peeled off a lot of stuff to do with all of us.
Yep.
And I don't think it's going to be helpful if we meet 4 times a year and try to get this done. So I know we have our next meeting scheduled for 2 weeks from now, but do we want to stay on an accelerated calendar?
I think so.
I think we need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
think,
Go into the holidays. I mean,
Oh,
things
yeah.
are going to get a little bifurcated as we get through November and December, but yeah, I think November 7th would be maybe a good next meeting date.
I agree. And you can add me to the bylaws committee.
Great.
And I assume there's, what is the process for us letting someone know officially if we're not able to go? We should meet on the 7th. It's just the day before the awards, so I'm not going to be here, obviously. But just as people missed here, is there a formal, I guess at this point, we let the chair and the vice chair know? Is that a normal process?
Yes, I would also include Marjorie for now.
Same time on the 7th?
Same time works for me.
All right.
I do appreciate the accelerated timing and having the meetings
Yeah.
repetitive, because we are coming up with the budget. And if we don't have a budget, we're not going to be able to find somebody to fill this chair of the executive commission, so.
And are we looking at the same 5:30 timeframe
Yep.
Is that cool with you?
on the 7th?
Yeah.
That's good by me.
I got a question. It might be unnecessary, but okay, I know putting together a mission and vision is a broader thing, and it'd be good to have whoever the executive director is involved in that. But doesn't that somewhat kind of determine the executive director? You know, like what the mission and all that is, don't it? I don't know, it's like a chicken and egg. We kind of need that to pick the right person to know if that person is good for what we're trying to do. I don't know, it's kind of a messed up question.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say is I don't disagree, but I also think that, again, the mission is pretty well laid out in the legislation.
Okay.
And therefore, we know where we're headed. And I think that
That's
the
real.
discussion we're waiting to have, maybe until their staff is, drilling down into policy and procedures where you do want to have a staff person involved in that. I don't know if maybe I misunderstand, but I don't know if that we have to create a mission statement before we hire somebody, because we already have one.
No, that's
in
true.
essence.
It's in the,
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I would just say that, I think the search for that person, we're going to be defining what we're looking for in that person, which is sort of a variation of the same thing, where, you know, it's like, okay, we need somebody with this kind of skill set, and I think, in a way, it might help us. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. I just think that as we narrow our search to what we're actually looking for, you know, the mission statement may evolve before or after, but it's really about getting the right person.
Yeah,
I agree.
I would add where the rubber meets the road for us, as I'm looking through my notes, is the creation of those policies whenever we get to that point. And based on that person's vision and mission for the actual office, it'll be based off these policies that we're tasked with creating. So it'll be fun to, you know, when the candidates, we've come to a point where we have a pool of candidates for them to lay out their mission and vision for the office, you know, based off these policies, so.
True.
Welcoming Hazel here. She had some issues with getting in the building. Sorry, Hazel. Should we go ahead and talk about other meetings past that?
Can
Go
we
ahead.
talk about getting in the building?
Let's talk about Yes.
So-
Next meeting will be at the Howard School, and I think we'll have some more, we'll have an agenda, and we'll have things a little more set up.
Very frustrating.
I can't imagine. All right.
All right.
For the meeting after that, do we want to do just 2 weeks? That's like the week of Thanksgiving, I think. Does anybody have an objection to that week on a Tuesday?
The 21st?
Yeah. You're out?
Would you consider moving it back a day because some people take off a little early for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm open for whatever.
Monday,
Any other suggestions?
20th?
Are you going to be,
I'm out the whole week, so.
should we do it the week before? Well, that would be like pretty quick, but maybe it's necessary. I don't know.
Or go for the Tuesday after Thanksgiving? Oh, no, actually, I'll be in Toronto.
Say we just do that Monday or Tuesday, just to keep it going. Somebody's always gonna be gone.
Yeah.
This is a,
I have a board meeting that Monday, but I could do Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 21st.
Same time? Should we keep going? Scheduling? What do we got then? So let's see. December 5th?
We'll be able to determine the location, the government.
Yeah, that
Mayor's
I'm
office
gonna
will help
put all these in a big email and then we'll figure it out.
Fabulous.
I definitely can't do the 12th.
I think the 5th is our next one, right? How's that one? Same time? We try to get one more in on the 19th, or people gonna be gone?
I'll probably be gone. It's a long walk to
We can always change these. We just pencil them all in for now.
Well, to that point, I was going to ask legal, in the event that we do have to cancel a meeting, what is the proper notice we have to give the public that the meeting has been canceled?
ITS will take it down from their calendar, and I think there's often a press release that goes with it, just stating that it's been canceled.
Okay.
But you don't have to have the same number of days as you would.
It happens a lot. I've signed up for way too many Metro meeting notifications, and I get a lot of canceled, like I feel like the day of or the day before.
With regard to the public involvement in these meetings, is it an open forum at some point in time? Do they stand up and weigh in on the matters at hand, or?
So each board and commission, the state has passed a law that says that you have to have a certain period of time for the public to come speak to you. It can be something as short as 2 minutes a person or 10 minutes total. You don't have to let them spend all your time. But there does have to be a process like that. And then, typically, once that part of the meeting is over, you would not be engaging with the public back and forth.
The Arts Commission does 2 minutes a person, and it's at the top of the meeting. And there's just a time frame. They usually make people sign up in advance.
Part of the bylaw.
Is that in the bylaws?
I think that's in the law.
It's part of state law, but we did, and our office did just tell all the boards and commissions to start doing that. So I think that is a good idea to put in the bylaws.
Okay. Put it in the bylaws.
And that's-
And then specify
Each
like the
meeting?
time in the bylaws? Do we specify the
No.
time? We don't have to do that? We just say at the top of the meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry. You should decide in your bylaws, yes.
Okay.
Because you don't want to decide, I like you and you get less time. I mean, I know
Yeah,
you
yeah.
would do that, but it's best to be upfront so everybody knows what the plan is.
And is that, I'll ask about this public sign up in my big email to Marjorie.
Yes.
I would not recommend more than 2 minutes, having
smart.
been one of the talkers. It's plenty.
For public comment by email, where are those comments sent? After said meeting, even this one, and someone is watching online and they have a question for the commission, is that
I don't know of any forum for submitting a question to the commission. Sometimes people will write letters offering their opinions, and the commission can read those, of course,
at the meeting?
at the meeting, or you can get it before. I mean, most typically, those are things like the planning commission where you have an application coming and everybody in the neighborhood wants to comment on it. I haven't really seen a lot of letters come into this kind of commission, but if they're sent in, they will be passed on to you.
And read into the record?
No, they don't have.
Okay.
They don't have to be read and literally read.
Okay.
I mean, if it was something that we wanted to be read into the record, you know, that you're allowed to do that, but I don't think we have to, is my understanding.
Yeah, that recently with the Arts Commission, there were a lot of letters that went to commissioners around a specific issue, and they were just emailed directly to commissioners, like, because our emails are posted typically on the Metro government site. So people found who to talk to.
And this public comment period, is that in each and every meeting?
Yes.
So what do we do, 10 minutes?
Oh, no. I like the 2-minute bit.
2 minutes?
Let me just offer.
No, 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes a person?
Two minutes.
Right, how many people? That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
is there a limit? Do we limit that or can?
I would put a limit on the number of people otherwise your meeting could go on
I was gonna
indefinitely.
say 5 at the most, or less than that. That's why I'm saying 10 minutes.
Yeah, we can talk about that in our bylaws meeting,
Okay.
but that sounds
Yeah.
pretty good, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, we can probably look at what other commissions are doing in terms of their numbers and model that.
All right, what else? Anybody else want to talk about something else? Hazel, sorry. You got locked out. Is there anything you want to talk about besides
The door?
the door, access to the meetings?
And congratulations on a wonderful film festival.
Yes, indeed. I was talking about the Lead Belly documentary earlier with these folks before you got here.
Yeah, they possibly have. The great thing for this festival is that we had five different individuals who will probably get a deal, and Lead Belly has been approached. And so we're excited about that.
That's excellent.
Per my mention, I had to leave, so thank you guys. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Only other thing that I've done a little bit of research on, we've been talking about incentives, and it's on the state level. We'll all have to be familiar with that and be good representatives of what's in play for us. I had a conversation with Kurt Willis about their incentive plan. He's talked about how they add certain portions to points to the effort. And-
Is that the Memphis?
Yeah, no, that's Knoxville.
Knoxville, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
And Lynn has got soft incentives and a few other things that she adds to the kitty. I've had a conversation with Entertainment Partners. They have a division within their company that helps to craft incentive plans, and they're also aware of multiple incentive plans around the country. And it's not that we'd be able to add a substantial amount of money to anything, but what would the makeup be of something like that may make us a more attractive film destination or production destination in general? So that's something that's close to my heart that I think will be of benefit to us in the long run, and I'd like to put that seed in your brain to see if you might think about it if I find some more ideas to it. Entertainment Partners would not be a free thing. That's another expenditure, and the projected expense of having them help craft that and put us in line with other commissions around the country is about $25,000. So it's not a light conversation. I don't know what the return on investment would be, but given the return on investment in various incentive plans throughout the state over time. It's something at least worth discussion, in my opinion.
What does Entertainment Partners do?
They're a payroll service, you know, like record labels
okay.
and other entities who don't want to write all the checks hire entertainment partners, and they do all the paperwork. But they're you know, very
Business
large company.
manager-ish.
We deal with them quite a bit.
Yeah, they also write and sell software for budgeting, payroll, scheduling and whatnot. And they have an incentive divisions, same as media services does, where they host gatherings about those sort of things.
Right.
And I'm all for those kind of incentives, but I also think that what we really need to be working with somebody at the city level about is permitting and police and getting police and those issues which are soft incentives but make it so much easier to shoot here.
Sure.
And I don't know how we put that together, but we should figure out how that works.
And that's why I suggest Lynn, because when I work with them, they have it all in their office, permitting, police, security. Everything is through their office, and they kind of coordinate all of that for anybody that comes and films in Memphis. So I think, you know, talking, especially to her, just for Tennessee, they will be definitely give us some insight on what works.
I wonder if it makes sense if Bob is already sort of is maybe going to be at the 24th, if then Lynn is maybe at the 7th meeting. So that we
Too
have the
much
time
information at once,
to
yeah.
kind of stretch out and ask questions and really explore with each of them.
And do you want to connect with Kurt Willis? Maybe ask him if he's available to Zoom into one of our meetings as well?
Sure, that'd be great. And Melissa Wiseman is the
Yeah.
person with Entertainment Partners. She served on the board of Film Nashville with Matt.
She's a Nashville native and lives
and,
here still.
And very excited about the opportunity of helping the commission thrive. So,
Yeah.
I just wanted to weigh back in on a little bit of what Peter was mentioning, because we've had so many of the conversations we've had over the last few years about a commission like this has been about making things efficient, making things, the paperwork, oh yeah, we go over here and then go 3 blocks over here and then you go over there. You know, I think we don't want to lose the big picture of, we're not trying to create more bureaucracy, we're trying to streamline what's already here, because we
Yep.
got all the raw materials.
Exactly.
And it's the procedures that we need to do. So I just would urge us all to think about any way we can do to you know, cut to the chase and really make the process of coming here and engaging our people as simple as possible. And you know, the front end makes such a difference, because people come here once and go, oh man, I'll never do that again. It's all about repeat business.
Sure.
That's what made Nashville Music City.
I did have a brief conversation with Gordon Richard about his involvement and how he knows the ins and outs of working with various departments within the city. And I think he will be a good resource for us moving forward and help guide us to some pitfalls that we might want to avoid.
Well, and also, I guess Marjorie is assigned to us, and she's going to be the one who can maybe tell us what we can already do, or we can, you know, make it part of our policy for the mayor's office to work with us on that.
I just want to take the time to applaud everyone here, and for anyone watching by the Metro channel, that we're literally building a commission from scratch. Like, you know, take some time to reflect on that, right? Like, this is in X amount of years in Metro's history where we're actually building a commission on scratch. Nothing wasn't handed off to us. So thank you for watching, and just keep that in mind as we build this brick by brick.
Yeah, good point. Thank you.
You're optimistic about our audience.
I try.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make one last point, he said, I promise. I just want to say that I've known Marjorie for a long time, and she is really dedicated, really committed. During the whole pandemic unemployment crisis, she was our lifeline to the legislature to get people who couldn't get their legislators' attention to help them with unemployment to find somebody else who did. I mean, literally hundreds of people, and she's very communicative. I was glad to see her here and see that she's going to be a conduit of information, because my experiences with her have been really, really positive.
All right. Is there anything else we want to talk before we go?
Did Laura leave? Who's our parking pass representative?
Tom?
Validate the parking? Can we still get that done?
Oh, yeah.
Just drive out.
It's possible I can get it.
All right.
He can do it.
We'll figure it
You
out.
bring an official
He's the
close to the
Magic wand.
Yeah. All right. Unless anybody objects, I can adjourn the meeting?
Yes. Go on, these validated parking.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.